we're gonna talk about the biggest misconception surrounding Kaido in the Onigashima raid. Before we get into it, I want to emphasize to all the people who are gonna interpret this video as me saying Kaido isn't strong or he's overrated, because I already know a ton of you are jumping to the comment section without watching the video. I need you guys to calm the fuck down. Kaido arguably has the best on-screen feats of any top tier. I'm not delusional, I'm aware of how strong he is, and I honestly respect it, but I just don't agree with some takes. When I made the video speaking about titles and I said I don't believe Kaido to be the strongest in One Piece and I don't think he will be come end the series, it reminded me a lot of the perception and arguments for Kaido is based upon the circumstances he fought in the Onigashima raid. To put it into simple terms, Kaido got jumped by like 50 people and soloed every single one of them. How many times have you guys heard that blatant statement? Oh, Kaido fought 1v7 or he fought 1v5 right after and he was able to demolish everybody. Who else is doing that in One Piece? Kaido's the GOAT. And those statements lead into a giant spiral. Then this becomes a foundation for so many debates. Oh, Kaido was extremely nerfed fighting Luffy, therefore he's still considerably stronger than Luffy. Kaido was able to fight Big Mom days prior, then hold up an island, then fight the Scabbards, then fight the Supernova and Gear 5 Luffy and was still dominating. Imagine how strong he actually is. The fact that Kaido looked the strongest while he was so-called being extremely nerfed will allow him to remain the strongest regardless of power cliff and shonen progression. So people believe the circumstances he fought in is enough to carry him to be the strongest ever. Let's talk about it. How much was Kaido actually being nerfed in the Onigashima raid? Who really had a big impact on Kaido? Obviously, we're not gonna count Luffy's 1v1 moments with Kaido since we're basically discussing how nerfed he was in regards to before he lost to Luffy. So what other factors played into Kaido's loss? I truly hope you guys understand what I mean by that. I'm obviously not neglecting what Luffy's done to Kaido because obviously he had the biggest impact. That's exactly why we're not mentioning him, because they were meant to be the fight. They were supposed to have the fair one-on-one. So we're gonna talk about the other factors that people mention. Like why would I say oh shit, Kaido was nerfed fighting Luffy because Luffy nerfed him prior? Like what? Bro, when judging this with Kaido, people are mainly focused on the quantity of people that fought Kaido rather than the quality of damage they were actually doing to him. This goes without saying, but being able to cut and hurt Kaido doesn't equal to significant damage. Let's start with the first altercation that people bring up. Prior to the raid of Onigashima, Kaido was coming off a 3-day battle with Big Mom and that hindered him a lot. On surface level, you would think this is detrimental to Kaido's overall health, causing Kaido to be nerfed.
It's false. No way. Not this time.
This fight couldn't have been too crazy or serious since Kaido and Big Mom both literally admit that themselves. Kaido tells a base / Gear 2 / Gear 3 Luffy, "It's been a while since someone could truly go toe to toe with me."
Wait a minute.
I thought he was just fighting to the death with Big Mama for 3 days. How can a base Luffy be the first person who can truly go toe to toe with Kaido in a while? Kaido was just fighting Big Mom for 3 days. Kaido hasn't even been that long, brother. Or could she not truly go toe to toe with you because you guys weren't really going all out? Or is she really shit and you weren't even trying at it? Now Big Mom gets hit by Lion Kid's awakening and then proceeds to say, "I haven't felt this much pain in decades." Hey yo, ain't you just fighting a full power Kaido for 3 days? Surely he should be able to clip you with some attacks. Kaido's attacks scaled way above what Kid at Law just hit you with. You're telling me a Conqueror's coding attack didn't hit you once in 3 days, Big Mom? What's going on? Especially since you aren't known for your good reaction time. Or is Kaido not able to damage Big Mom in 3 days? Weird. Maybe they were just clashing consecutively for the entire 3 days and no one actually hit each other. The fight was entirely off screen and there's implications to believe the fight wasn't that serious. Next, let's move on to the Scabbards. They did absolutely next to nothing. Don't let the fact that they were able to pierce Kaido actually fool you. Small cuts like those don't really mean anything, especially when zones have crazy regeneration capabilities, especially Kaido being the craziest zone when it comes to durability and endurance. And we know Kaido has the most insane durability in the verse. While Kaido being a mythical zone, those attacks didn't do any lasting damage because even when they did their combined attack, the Paradise Totsuka, Kaido even said that attack was too shallow. This is the attack they all combined together. That's the key word I want you guys to remember, shallow, like a shallow pool. A lot of you black brothers will be familiar with that term because I know your bitch ass can't swim. Now let's move on to the rooftop. This battle was Kaido versus the 5 supernova. Oh, let me not forget about Big Mom. Her presence was absolutely like non-existent. So let's just say Kaido versus the 5 supernova. Luffy, Zoro, Crackhead, Garbage Man, and Law. Let me make this very simple for you guys. We don't have to talk about every single attack because I can break this down easier. 90% of these attacks had little to no effect on Kaido, and we know this because Luffy, he learned Ryo, or in other words, advanced Artament Haki that allows him to penetrate through Kaido's scales and do internal damage, went all out against Kaido and spammed a barrage of attacks against him. We can all agree this Kong Gatling scales above every attack used on the rooftop from everyone else besides Zoro. And what I mean by that is obviously Ashura, because Ashura was able to scar Kaido, and it's the only attack that could be considered not shallow. Luffy states even after doing all these attacks, his attacks were too shallow. That's when he unlocked advanced Conqueror's Haki in order to significantly damage Kaido. So like how these scabbards practically did nothing to Kaido, and Kaido being disappointed in the fact that they're practically shit and calling the combined attack they just did shallow, Luffy implies his attacks were too shallow as well. And that's not me saying the scabbards attacks scale to Luffy's attack because they're both technically too shallow. No, Gear 4 Luffy would mollywop the fuck out of the scabbards. I'm saying to damage Kaido, it's a bit more than that. To significantly damage Kaido, it looks like it takes Conqueror's Haki to do that. When Luffy significantly damaged Kaido the first time, it was due to Conqueror's Haki. And when he defeated Kaido in the final clash, it had a lot to do with Conqueror's Haki as well. And when Zoro scarred Kaido, it was with Conqueror's Haki. When Oden scarred Kaido, it was with Conqueror's Haki. So you see what I'm saying? To significantly damage Kaido, it's looking like it takes Conqueror's Haki. At least with the people in Wano, that's what was shown. I'm not saying that's definitive because there's obviously other top tiers in the verse that could probably significantly damage him with other abilities. Now, let's move on to Yamato. In this battle, Yamato really didn't land any significant attacks to Kaido to wear him down at all. Her Thunder Bagua managed to only leave seemingly a drop of blood. But is this even blood, bro? Like, what is this? Well, props to Yamato because she was able to stall Kaido until Luffy got back, which required him to use a decent amount of his strength since we know he was using coding for the majority of the battle. This could have definitely worn out and tired Kaido during the raid. Let's move on to the next thing, and this is undeniably fact. This completely nerfed Kaido to some degree, which is actually undeniable, which is the fact that he was holding up the island. Now, that itself is crazy. That feat, we know for a fact, is 100% linked to Kaido's overall strength. We see Yamato mention that his flame clouds are becoming unstable, and that his power is weakening. So there's no doubt about this. This man was doing what he was doing, holding up an island with a fat ass motherfucker like Queen chasing bitches around the pleasure hall cause she didn't let him hit. You have fat ass dinosaurs like him running around this bitch, and Kaido's fighting Gear 5 Luffy while holding his fat ass up. I wonder, how much did this actually weaken Kaido though? Because it implied it did, but how much and which way did it weaken him? Because even though it did state his power was weakening, after that was said, in the next fight against Luffy, when Luffy comes back, Kaido was shown getting stronger from that point. This was when he was activating his drunken modes while fighting Luffy. To further prove this, it was even stated by Luffy that Kaido's Haki was getting stronger as well. So Kaido might not have been getting less powerful holding up the island. I personally like to believe it takes a toll on his stamina, as we've seen from Momonosuke the amount of concentration and effort it takes just to create one flame cloud. So yeah, I want to say even though the scabbards and supernova really didn't do anything to Kaido, the fact that him fighting them consecutively and then having to deal with Luffy who unlocks coding right after, then he goes on to fight Yamato, all that's gonna take a toll on him. So yes, over time, regardless of the damage being dealt to him by those events, they still played a part in fatiguing Kaido. To end this video, to reiterate, the things that really impacted Kaido in the raid were, besides Luffy of course, because we know he had the most impact, was holding up the island, Yamato stalling Kaido, and technically Zoro's scar. I mean Kaido didn't really give a fuck about it, but it did something, and obviously being fatigued from the consecutive fights with no break. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify these things in regard to Kaido and what really handicapped him, because this also goes into the debate of Luffy versus Kaido. People say Kaido's still stronger because of these reasons. I find it kind of interesting because it's not that simple. Kaido fought on 1v7. Oh my god, the scabbards, 7 of the scabbards against Kaido. Whoa. Let's bring this back full circle and give a little more context as to what I mean by the title of the video. The problem with Kaido being the strongest, or to some people, the problem with Kaido remaining the strongest, because if you have him the strongest right now, that's completely justified and I totally understand it. it. As I just described, I don't believe Kaido's disadvantages he faced in his defeat can't justify him remaining the strongest regardless of other characters showing better feats in the future. Some of you guys might not accept other characters showing better feats because you think very highly of the disadvantages Kaido faced to the point where he was so nerfed he wasn't shown in the best light he could have been shown in, and he could have looked stronger if he didn't have those disadvantages. Therefore, Kaido could still be the strongest. If some of you believe him to be the strongest based on his title that he was introduced with, because I know some of you guys believe his title is referring to everybody in One Piece and that means he's stronger than everybody, do you think Kaido's feats he performed in Wano will hold true to that title till the end of time? Because I don't think Kaido's ever going to come back in the series, and if he does, he's not going to get the shine he did in Wano. I have no doubt he can go down as the most durable and have the most endurance of any antagonist we've seen in One Piece, and I don't see anyone surpassing that. There might be other characters that also excel in other aspects a lot that makes them OP. Like how Kaido was known for his toughness, there might be other characters that are known for how crazy or insane their haki is that makes them OP. So there's no point of saying Kaido was able to fight 1v17 so he could be the strongest. No one got jumped like Kaido in the series before. Kaido had to take on a whole fucking army by himself. That's what Kaido excels at. That's what he's built for. That's how he's literally built. He's built to take damage and fight for long ass hours. And he also has other stuff. But there's gonna be other characters who are built different than Kaido. Maybe they have insane one-shot potential. Maybe they have insane hacks. The question shouldn't be, will Kaido's feats make him top 1 EOS? It's more of how much of a disadvantage was he at in the Onigashima raid to the point where if he didn't have those disadvantages, he could look like the strongest antagonist, even till the end of the series. If you believe his disadvantages to be that severe, I guess you can make the argument, but I definitely wouldn't. Or if you want to make the argument that the feats that Kaido's shown right now will never be topped by any other antagonist, be my guest. Yeah guys, that's pretty much it. A lot of people have Kaido the strongest and will die on that hill no matter what, and it's kind of interesting. I want to know where their brains at. I want to see what you guys think. That's it guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.